Hola Madridistas, welcome to another episode of Let's Be Real. We have not an esteemed panel, I guess, like it's just the two of us, so it's just like we usually say, it's the wonderful Farooq and myself. How's it going, Farooq? How are you feeling after last post-match?
It was quite an interesting post match, considering the 1-1 draw, and it was a nice conversation to get what the boys and Doris had to say, So there was that, and also there was a small matter of the FIFA awards last night as well,
Hmm.
where for some reason we just seem not to win anything. But then, anyways, it is what it is. That's something else. But other than that, man, yeah, it's been a good week so far, honestly. If you could recall the other time I told you, the week is up and down. It's a week of where you have some things, but also you don't have the things. But yeah, it's 2 days into the weeks. Let me not jinx it, but yeah, it's been looking positive so far.
Yeah, it's better not to jinx it. Just 2 days, like you say, a lot of things can go wrong. For instance, the big game on Thursday. Oh man, like
Indeed, man. Indeed, my friend. It's a really really big game on Thursday. Like, it doesn't matter if it's the Copa del Rey or it's the Super Cup or it's a friendly in Saudi Arabia. It really doesn't really matter, honestly. It's a really really big game, and considering what's just happened to Barcelona, at the weekend as well. The loss to Almeria, and like, I will put my hands up to say I never ever saw that coming. I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't know who wrote it. I think it was Doris who wrote it in the group chat, and
yep.
when she just wrote it, like, I was like, okay. And then after like 80 minutes, it was still like 1-0. I just switch on the game, and I mean, you have to watch this to the end, man.
I would say
And
like
honestly, yeah, I mean,
the first half, like Barca got thoroughly like overrun, I would say, because their attacks were all on point. They had a series of really close corners, and then they had
yeah.
almost three, four shots at target itself in the first half. And Almeria was just beautiful. But in the second half, Barca certainly improved, and then that was when you probably turned it on. Like, was that a really tense moments in the final 10 minutes, or how was it?
Definitely, definitely. It was a really tense end to the game. And actually, for me, I was just personally okay, okay, okay. But the thing is that, uh, after the game, I just was like, okay, the point is this: like, even if Barca, drop points, we also are gonna do that. Like, there is no guarantee that we're gonna gain these points that they've dropped. I don't know if that makes sense. So in that way, I just kind of feel like, ugh. I mean, it's still 7 points, so it is what it is. Still, it's still 7 points, just like the day before, and it's still like that today. So 7 points, a lot of gap to cover. Even even if we defeat Barcelona at the Camp Nou, it's still gonna be 4 point leads to recover. So yeah, as I said, like, the point is, I cannot sit here and tell you with confidence that, oh yeah, we're gonna go on a run and win 10 games on the trot. I mean, that's not what we do in La Liga. So yeah, man, it is what it is.
And like I feel like one of the major reasons why this is happening is Barca are missing their usual midfield of Pedri, Gavi, and of course now Lewandowski as well is injured, which we'll get into later. But it's just a difficult moment for them, and right now we are just getting through our injury list and then slowly getting our players back. So I feel like it's a good moment to face Barcelona, definitely.
I mean, you're totally right. The absence of those talismanic midfielders of Barcelona, and it's showed a lot. Even you could see in the game against United, like, the control of the midfield was what eventually led them to lose in that game. And I actually feel now, with the return from injury of our midfielders as well, like, as you said, like, this is the time to try to win that midfield battle and eventually the game entirely as a whole.
Yeah, before we like get into the Copa del Rey thing, like that's just another thing. Like, were you like totally surprised when we could field a completely different midfield in the second half? Not many teams can do that, man. Not even Man City.
I mean, I aired my frustration about that. The fact that, okay, you're fielding a completely different midfield, albeit a very, very, solid midfield, which will be very close to world class, because obviously we can't, it will be unfair to, like, or it would be bogus to label Chouameni and Camavinga as world class players at this point. Obviously, they will develop into world class players, but I mean, it's as close to world class as you can get, honestly. Yeah, it's very exciting to see, but also it's very sad to see that in a game where we need to score a goal, we decide to throw in Chouameni. I mean, I can understand Camavinga because of that burst of energy and what he's not,
Farouk, are you
but
still
I kind
crying
of feel,
about your Chow Many?
I mean, I just feel, it's sad, honestly. At least that's the way I see it, that, I'm looking to win a game, and uh, my option is, to swap a defensive midfielder for a defensive midfielder. It's like, I don't
Exactly.
know, man. Honestly,
I mean, to be fair to Carlo, like who could have foreseen that Correa would get the red card for that? And that just completely missed the point of having Chouameni on. Like there was no need for having him on, especially.
But the point was, as we talked after the game, as I think Javier also highlighted, is that there was no width in the game. The game was
Yeah.
too central, And the point is that the way, Molina and Savage, literally, marked Vini out of the game. Like they literally stopped him from doing anything. Like we needed someone who was gonna hog the touchline, And with all due respect to Marco Asensio, he's just not that. Even at his highest peak, in 16, 17, he just wasn't that kind of player, He's not a player who is going to hog the touchline. He's someone who likes to cut in, into the central areas and what is not. So we needed that, line hogging, fullback, or I don't know, or a winger or whatever. So at that point in time, still, honestly, even without, foreseeing the red card what was it, to Korea. So it was, I don't know, at least this is what I felt personally, but yeah, but I mean, eventually then, we found a way to, concede a goal from a set piece. That's what we do. And yeah, it is what it is, unfortunately.
Yeah, man. At least I feel like it's been a long time now that we can look at the game objectively and not blame fingers at like the young kid who just came on and then blame him for the goal.
No, I
But
mean, honestly, no. Even I didn't blame him at all, because I felt, the point is, if there are three defenders there, and one of them is Alvaro, and the two others are your starting center backs in Militao and Rudiger, I mean, no one will even remember that Alvaro was there. Obviously, the blame 110% lies on both Militao and Rudiger. Militao and Rudiger. Sorry. So, I mean, that's them 100%. And the fact that uh, Jimenez actually specifically chose to attack that region of the pitch, of the box rather, tells
yeah,
a lot about how much our centre back pairing is strong when it comes to defending set pieces. Let me not use the word weak, but rather let's use the word strong. But this kind of consolidate and uh, I don't know, man. It says a lot, honestly, that the Atleti attacker in the box chose to attack that specific duo. So yeah, it goes to say, like, this is what he's always been, year in, year out. It's like always that we've always complained about the lack of set piece defending, and you brought in Militao. But one thing I would say is that eventually you come to understand that defending set piece is not about physical presence. It's a game of reading the game. It's your ability to read the game, because the point is, a lot of people made fun of Lisandro Martinez when he joined United. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, like he has one of the highest successful aerial duel success in England, and like, I mean, without sounding disrespectful, he's just like a midget, man. That's the thing, honestly. So it's not about you being tall or being this. Nah, I mean, let's not forget, like, one of the best defenders in history, Cannavaro, the one who won the Ballon d'Or. He was also not tall, but he's
yeah.
regarded as one of the best defenders. Like, you literally can't get past him. So it's not about physicality and height and what is there. I mean, obviously, like, people will just sit down and talk, oh yeah, he has to be tall, he has to. Nah, I mean, football is also a game of intelligence. It's no longer just physicality. I mean, as I've said, like, intelligent people will always thrive irrespective of how physically they look. It's when you're stupid, that's when you need to compensate with that for your physicality and your athleticism, honestly. So yeah, it is what it is, unfortunately.
Yeah, man, but especially when you talk about intelligence, like what's frustrating for me is that Militao, he can man mark a man and probably keep him in his pocket for maybe 88 minutes. But then just in that, like couple of minutes, he does something really dumb or forgets to like completely mark up man, and then this is what happens. We see this game in, game out.
I mean, that's the thing, man. Like, I mean, as we've discussed this even I think last year as well. Like, we always have this. We use this word brain farts. You know, like that's that's the thing in our defense, man. Like, it's always gonna happen. Like, one of them or both of them at the same time. We just decide that yeah, I mean, we've scored enough, so let's let the opposition also score one or two goals here and there. You know, so that's the thing. But I mean, the thing is that brain farts can happen. You understand? But the point is where it becomes consistently the same thing, it starts to become okay. This is no longer a mistake, but this is in like an incapability. It's like okay, you guys are just not capable of defending set pieces. I can you can forgive lapse in concentration, or you give the ball away, or like you lose your marker, this and that. This can happen. Like you concede to a counter, it can happen. But when you're always conceding up, through the same avenue, which is a set piece for our case, and the thing is this, I think it was Doris who mentioned it. Maybe you can remember, like, she said Rudiger always wins his attacking aerial duels, but it never goes on target. He will always win the headers, but they will always go somewhere else. I think the only time was against Leipzig when he got injured. That's the only time I think he actually won the header that actually went on target. Otherwise, he's going to win the header, but it's going to go off target, So what's the point? So it's, it's just a up and down thing, honestly. Well, I mean, this is nothing new. This is nothing new, honestly. So, it just hurts that, when you drop points because of these things, you try to highlight them here and there, but this is nothing new. We won the Champions League and the league last year using the same thing. So, yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, man, totally. I guess this is a good time to, start getting into the Copa del Rey fixtures. So right now, for all the Madridistas listening, just for reference, we are facing them in the semi-final for the first leg at the Santiago Bernabeu. Along with us, we also have Osasuna and Athletic Club battling it out. So that fixture, like regardless, I'm pretty sure Barca or Real Madrid like would be totally happy to face either of them. Like, are you surprised to see Atletico out at this point of the tournament, Farooq? Because we
I
did kick
mean,
them out. Yeah.
we eliminated them, no? We eliminated them. So I mean, it's actually,
No.
I was reading a write-up on ESPN just before the derby, actually, where he was talking about like there was 5 seasons in a row Real Madrid eliminated Atleti from the UEFA Champions League.
Oh, wow.
No, sorry, it was 4 seasons in a row. Sorry, it was 4 seasons. It was 2 finals, 1 quarterfinals, and 1 semi-finals.
Mhm.
Imagine.
That
I
must
mean,
have
imagine how crazy is that?
the sight of our bats must be like getting on the nerves of all their fans.
And the funny thing is this, they literally if maybe you can remember, I think for the final in Milan, they literally had to go through Bayern Munich, Barcelona, I think, and Chelsea to get to the final.
Yes.
On the other hand, I think we had to go through to Wolfsburg, Dortmund, like, I mean, compared to their path, like theirs was the path of champions, and they came and like, they it was a 0-0 game, and then we had to go to penalties and all that. I mean, that's the thing, man. Like, unfortunately, like, for Atleti, like, they don't have very good memories, when it comes to us, honestly. I mean, obviously, like, Simeone has revived the derby and all that, but yeah, I mean, Atleti being out, we eliminated them out, so I'm not surprised about, the missing, but it would have been nice, if we were in there at least to see, Diego Simeone get his hands on a trophy, a potential last trophy. We don't know if he's gonna stay or if he's gonna go. But yeah, man, credits to Diego Simeone for the way he's revived the club and what he's done with now.
Yeah, but more than like having Atletico missing, like what's surprising to me is that we are still alive in the Copa del Rey.
Exactly right. Exactly, that's the thing. I mean, I can't remember the last time we actually played a Copa semi-final, man. Honestly, I can't remember the last time we played a Copa semi-final. But I mean, it's good, man. Honestly, and I also, I'm also glad that actually it's against Barcelona, not Osasuna or Atleti. Okay, maybe Athletic Club would have been, a bit better, but the thing is that Osasuna, although this season are also flying high, the point is we have this tendency to, underrate the fixture, we have this tendency to underrate the opponent. I don't know if that's the right word, if it's the fixture or the opponent, I don't know. But the point is, because right now it's Barcelona, whether we like it or not, we have to show. Because I mean, and in the Clasico, we've always been in the Clasico, so that's the one downside to it. And you can always, trust our star players also to show up, in the fixtures that matter the most. That's why I am kind of it's a double-edged sword. Obviously, it's Barcelona, so it's not an easy game. But I just know that at least we will go down by giving a fight, as compared to if it was against also maybe Athletic Club. So
right? Of course. And one thing is that before we like get into the details of the match, what would you like to happen in this upcoming fixture? Like, would you prefer to get a comfortable win, and then for the second leg, it's gonna be, we're gonna of course struggle because we will play defensively, we will play not on the right foot. So, or would you prefer to get pretty much a nil-nil draw or maybe even a 1-0 defeat?
I mean, if I mean the question is quite vague, so I'm just gonna put it vague as well. If we can score infinity to zero, man, I am fine. Let's score till even the scoreboard cannot take the numbers anymore. I mean, the point is, as a Real Madrid fan who started watching in 2007, 2008, I have seen a lot of garbage, man. I mean, we've seen the 6-2, we've seen the 5-0, we've seen the 4-0, And the point is, whatever happens, at least I haven't watched more than a 3-1, on my side.
Yeah,
I haven't watched more than a 3-1 in a single game, in favor of Real Madrid. So I would want that. And also, considering the fact that we're still gonna, okay, obviously the Liverpool tie is, I mean, 99.9% finished, but then it's football, that 0.1% always remains, a possibility. I would love us to have a comfortable victory here, so at least we can rest our players, the rest of the fixtures in La Liga and, towards the games in Europe as well. But I would want to see a victory, man. I mean, it doesn't really matter like how marginal or how tight the victory is. I would just want to see a victory, and especially as we said earlier, like the absence of the dynamic duo in midfield of Pedri and Gavi. I think it's a time to stamp our authority in midfield. Honestly, I think, and as we know, like whenever our midfield performs, we perform. That's one thing. Whenever the midfield ticks, like we usually are our best and best. So I really would love to see a very comfortable victory at the Bernabeu on Thursday.
all right. Farooq, well, after this, can you try adjusting your mic or trying speaking up? Like sometimes it's a bit muddled, but other times it's fine.
Oh really?
Oh,
I don't know
no.
what's up with this.
Yeah, people. Anyways, like Farooq said, it's the right time to go for the kill against Barcelona because they have their own list of injury woes, especially with Lewandowski also missing out with a hamstring problem. And once again, one more player that we seldom talk about nowadays is Ansu Fati. So he is also having his own injury troubles, and just not having him fully match fit is going to be like a really important thing for us, especially in these types of do or die cup games. So yeah, Farooq, can you still hear me? Or
Yeah, man, I can hear. I don't know if you can hear me now.
oh yeah, yeah, mic is perfect now. All good, bro.
Actually, there was a the stuff wasn't actually recognizing the mic, so actually it was using the default mic, which I'm a bit far away from, and the stuff. But thanks for the reminder there. Yeah,
Yep,
I heard you were talking about Ansu Fati, right?
yep.
Oh, I mean, could you repeat what you said, please,
Of
if you
course,
don't
Farooq.
mind?
So I was talking about how Ansu Fati is also like just coming into match fitness. He's similar to I would say in Rodrigo's space in this particular match because Rodrigo is also just nursing an injury and then he's just started training. Ansu Fati has not started training yet, although he might make it for the Clasico because they are light on center forwards at the moment, of course, with the Lewandowski missing. So, do you think if Ansu Fati is fit, he's going to have an important role in this match?
I think so. I think also let's not forget about Ferran Torres. I don't know if Ferran Torres is should be fit or not, but
He is
Ferran
fit.
Torres also is so Ferran Torres is also someone I think that concerning if he's fit, I think you might want to play him through the center forward. Although like we know Ferran Torres is a very prolific, he has a tendency of missing a lot of chances here and there. So I think, because of the already we know Usman Dembele is out, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Dembele is not gonna make the game. So, that's I think that's a big miss already, And also with the injury to Lewandowski, I think it's asks Xavi to tinker through his lineup and see what's not. And normally I would assume that he's gonna pack his midfield in that place, to the at least because he's losing the presence of a striker like Lewandowski. But even to pack his midfield, he doesn't have the personnel right now because also as we mentioned, two of the of the starters are out. So it's gonna be interesting to see what he comes up with. But I'm rather than Ansu Fati, I'm leaning towards a player like Ferran Torres most likely. I don't know if I will be right or wrong, but I think Ansu Fati might be brought on in the second half to cause some damage. Especially when maybe if the game is still like a 0-0 or a 1-0, and Real Madrid are going for the kill and something like that. The pace and trickery of Ansu Fati could cause a lot of damage and harm during those phases as well.
Yeah, the thing with Ansu Fati is that he doesn't need to do all of those tricks. He's pretty much like Rodrigo. He just sometimes pops in at the right time, and then that's where our defenders really struggle. They're really good at one-on-ones, but when it comes to marking like these really tricky players, I don't know, man. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's true. Like you're very valid as well. Like Ansu Fati also has that knack of popping in with a goal here and there. Like being in the right place at the right time. And as we've said earlier, like our defenders has this tendency to lose their markers. Have a brain fart and what is not. So it's possible. I mean, honestly, Ansu Fati is a very very smart and intelligent player. It's a shame that he's always been injured here and there. So I mean it just goes to show you the level of how much you have to appreciate these players who are very consistent year in year out what they've been doing so consistently. It's not easy to even just maintain full fitness is something. And as we've seen with Ansu Fati, he's been injury after injury. It's really a sad case, unfortunately.
Yeah, but we've seen the story before, right, with Dembele. So in the first few seasons, he was constantly injured. He couldn't get any sort of rhythm going. But once he did, it took a couple of years, but once he finally figured it out, once he got some man management behind him in the form of Xavi, he really blossomed. Do you see that trajectory happening for Ansu Fati as well?
I mean, the point is, yeah, that could be as well. As you said, like Ansu Fati is still quite young. Let's not forget that. So he could still muscle up. Find the right fitness coach or right I don't know get the right people around him, and he could still come back. And I mean, the point is, he's been given the number 10 jersey at Barcelona, so like the club must be really convinced, by his talent, his skills, and his temperament, most importantly. So I want to believe that. With time, when his body develops, and becomes stronger, and he understands the game better, he might be able to take care of his body, and and what's it called, and come back even stronger. But the point is, we've seen a lot of cases. For example, I would just pinpoint to Jack Wilshere of Arsenal. Like he got injured, I think twice or three times, and unfortunately, that's mental. It takes a lot of mental strength, to come back, honestly. And for Ansu Fati, it's been, I think, two injuries, if I'm not mistaken, two back to back.
Two major
I think
injuries.
long term injuries.
Yep.
Exactly, two long term injuries. So it's not easy because for one thing we've always seen about Usman Dembele is that Usman Dembele wasn't injured. Usman Dembele, okay, he was injured, but it was the kind of injuries that Hazard had because he wasn't looking after himself. It was like, okay, your muscle fatigue, hamstrings, muscle fatigue, hamstring, this kind of things. I think it's until recently that actually Usman Dembele had a very, very serious injury. Uh,
Yep.
but for Ansu Fati, he's just been unfortunate about that like injuries are very, very unfortunate part of the game. They're byproducts of the game. There's nothing you can do about this. But yeah, man, I mean, we're rivals, but I want even him to come and be good, so we can create that sense of of rivalry that we had with Cristiano and Messi. The Lewandowski, the Benzema, the Bales, and the Neymar. That period was the golden age, and that's just because you have two team performance at their apexes. So I would really love to see Ivan Sufati, and I wish him all the best. In his footballing career, and not just on Thursday, but after that he can do whatever he wants.
Good point, Farooq. Uh, And also, one thing that stood out for me in these past few, maybe a couple of months even for Barcelona is that they have been on a downward trend, especially in Europe. Like they've not been confident whenever they lose any sort of important player. When they have their whole squad left, they're a pretty strong team. But just looking at it, like we have the luxury of saying, hey, even if Benzema goes out for the season or his form appears to dwindle, we know for a fact that we can probably get a really good attacker. But that is not the reality for them. Like they have failed to qualify for the UCL. They haven't gotten any new funds in. Like how many levers more can they pull? So they're pretty much stuck with the same front 11, starting 11, I would say. Do you see the same Barcelona team dominating in the next season as well?
I mean, the point is, let's not forget this. Like they added Lewandowski in the offseason. Let's not forget this. And I think, adding Lewandowski also, changes the landscape of the team because I think Lewandowski is a man who is not, he's not 25, he's not 24. So he's there for the now and the here, you understand? And I feel like, one thing that Barcelona has been lacking always is that, as I've said before, is that which I think Xavi is gradually installing again in the team, is that that grit to win when all the chips are down. For example, I don't know if you saw the United game, but the first half, like Barcelona should have been out of sight. You know,
Yeah,
and it comes to the second half, and all of a sudden, they crumble under the pressure. So I mean, Europe, I don't know if Barca we can still compete in Europe at this point in time, or if they will, because I think it's not just about their team. Because honestly, Barcelona are much more better than teams like Benfica and Dynamo Kiev and so on and so forth. So like they should be, I mean, even I would say they are better than Inter Milan. They should be
yeah,
proceeding in groups like this. So I think that's more about a mental thing or what is not. But one thing that I would say is that like in La Liga, Barcelona will not go away, irrespective of the presence of Lewandowski or like thereof. I don't think Barcelona would go away, and I think that yeah, they will still continue to to their presence will come. I mean, for example, you can see Aubameyang came to Barcelona last season for the last 6 months, and like
yeah,
you could see how good he was. So that's the thing. Like that Barcelona in the league is a whole different ballgame, honestly. But when it comes to Europe, I just still feel like the presence of Lewandowski, and if they can get uh, if they can get one key addition, in the summer, I think maybe a fullback. Honestly, I think because if I'm not mistaken, Kunde and Arau have taken turns playing as a right back for Barcelona this year. I think if they can get that one good fullback as well to add to the to give additional width to the team, I think that might change a lot of things for them, honestly. But I think the presence of Lewandowski would eventually push them over the line in Europe one day. They will eventually get past the hurdle of that group stage and come back to competing, because I believe I want to believe that if Barcelona get past the group stage, that that feeling of the Champions League will return to the team, and they will understand the position and realize the duties once again.
exactly. Well, uh, like you mentioned the Manchester United game as well. Like, were you impressed with the performance of Kessie? Because has he been able to carry the team so far in the absence of maybe Pedri or Gavi?
I wouldn't say that much, honestly. I wouldn't say that much, honestly. To be honest, I wouldn't say I've been that impressed with Frank Casey, honestly. But one thing I would say also is that Frank Casey actually is a bit different to what Barcelona is playing with in Gavi and Predi. Although I mean, anyone who sees Gavi will know that Gavi is, he's both a mixture of the tiki taka and the aggression as well. And honestly, like Frank Casey also is a very fine passer of the ball. But I kind of think just like I personally believe that the system that Barcelona plays is not the most suiting for Frank Casey, honestly. And I'm not surprised to see that there are a lot of rumors linking him with a move away from Barcelona in the summer. And I mean, let's not forget he's a free transfer, and Casey is just 26, if I'm not mistaken. So he's gonna have a lot of he's gonna fetch Barcelona some couple of euros on the market as well. So yeah, I think I've not been really impressed with Frank Casey. So I personally think it's just a mismatch, misfit of a player. So I think maybe a move away, maybe back to Italy, would do him a lot of good, or even I don't know, even maybe the Premier League as well, it might do him a lot of good as well.
Yeah, but we have seen these type of players kind of flourish in Barcelona, right? With the Arturo Vidals, the Paulinhos, the guy who's on the edge of the box always, and he always gets to the headers or to finish off the end of moves. But with Kessie, like I've noticed that he doesn't get into a lot of attacking positions. Like he tries to combine with others at the edge of the box rather than get into the box.
Well, that's a very good point, with the likes of Paulinho and Arturo Vidal. Honestly, well, I kind of think like the thing is that when you check when both Paulinho and Arturo Vidal were playing for Barcelona, there was a different style of play there. I don't know if you could. I mean, Paulinho was under Ernesto Valverde, and Valverde almost bypassed the midfield. I don't know if you could recall, like they almost bypassed the midfield and they were just playing. I mean, back then on the Valverde, it was just Messi and Ter Stegen.
Yeah,
It was Messi and Ter Stegen, and sometimes Suarez decides to show up or not. That was something. And Usman Dembele was always like was never even in the team. Then he wasn't even something to talk about. So yeah, I think back then because of the bypass that midfield, it gave I think Paulinho a lot of license, to push up forward, and be on the edge of whatever comes out of the box and be able to attack that, similar to Arturo Vidal as well. But I think right now, like Barcelona are still there, that are going back to that midfield centric kind of play. So that doesn't allow a player like Frank Casey that much freedom, in my opinion, at least, that he would like as much as he would like to, have, or as much as he has seen at clubs like AC Milan before, he came here.
exactly. That's a really good point. Yeah, that may be the reason why he always has to stay at the edge of the box, trying to combine with players rather than head into the box himself. Because this Barcelona team are so
Yeah.
dependent on their midfield to create the chances, especially with like Ousmane and other people out as well. Like it's going to be really hard for them. So yeah, let's hope all of these absences work out for us. So do you have anything else to like talk about Barcelona specifically, or should we like head into general stuff and Real Madrid?
I mean, the point is honestly like this is the time, to at least in my opinion, you asked me earlier before what am I looking forward to see, in the game. This is the time, honestly, to exploit Barcelona. This is the time, this is the time to make them feel the pressure. This is the time to go for the jugular, honestly, because I personally think like after what happened in Saudi Arabia in the final of the Super Cup, we should be seeking revenge. And I mean, this is a wounded Barcelona, in my opinion. Without Pedri, without Gavi, without Lewandowski. This is the time to unleash our players. To give them, because the point is, I can just imagine myself, watching players like Camavinga, Fede Valverde, Luka Modric, Toni Kroos drawn ragged in this midfield. Honestly, you know, because I think the athleticism and the energy of Camavinga and Fede Valverde, coupled with the brains and intelligence of Luka Modric and Toni Kroos, I think it's gonna be outrageous in this game, honestly, and considering the shield of Tchouaméni as well. So I think this is that time, to go for the juggler against Barcelona. And I have said earlier, like if our midfield ticks, we usually tick.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's just what it's been. So I think this is the time to do that, honestly. But yeah, I really just hope like we don't have the same mistake against Barca as the Super Cup, because honestly, against the Super Cup, in the Super Cup, sorry, it seemed like our players were confused and we didn't know what to do or what not to do. So I hope we can get it right, because it's pertinent to get it right this time, honestly, because we play Barcelona three times, I think, in the space of a month, and those three times, honestly, can determine what's gonna happen for us domestically. So I really hope we start on the right foot, honestly.
Not just on the right foot, like we need to have a major blow against them so that it leaves no room for like any sort of error in the second leg. Then we know how fragile this Barcelona team are. Like if we can get really two convincing victories in the Copa del Rey, like the La Liga picture is going to be a pe- piece of cake as well, I would say. Hopefully.
Actually, the La Liga fixture is sandwiched actually between the two
Oh,
fixtures. Like
oh wow.
we're gonna play the first leg against Barca, and then we're gonna go to the Camp Nou to play the first leg. But sorry, to play the game, the second leg of the league game, and then again we go to the Camp Nou again to play the second leg of the cup game.
Oh wow. That's going to be. So,
So
do you
we
think
have two back to back away fixtures actually. So that's why getting this right at home is really really important.
exactly? So, hopefully, like a big victory, and then they will probably crumble in La Liga as well if they are missing all of these players again. Let's hope, man. Let's hope.
I mean, they were missing Lewandowski and Gavi and Pedri for separate moments across the the span of the season. But so far so good. They're still 7 points ahead, honestly. So I think the absences wouldn't rattle them too much, in my opinion, especially when it comes to La Liga. I think okay, here and there, they're gonna struggle here and there, but the point is, uh, when you watch Barcelona this season, which I have said earlier, is that they have the mark of champions, honestly, because I can pinpoint to you 5, 6, 7 games where Barcelona literally won by hanging on a thread, But that's the hallmark of a champion, the fact, the ability, to walk through fire and be unburned, that's the thing, like to show the that's resolve, that ability to win games even when you're down. So yeah, that's the thing, honestly. So I don't really think that I still maintain my stance that I think La Liga is gone. But the point is, Barcelona has given us a lifeline by not capitalizing on the draw we had. So yeah, let's see how it goes.
Come on, Farooq. 7 points is just a few points. Let's go get them.
I mean, if we win, fine, we enjoy it. But other than that, I ain't got nothing to say, man. Honestly, like I'm not expecting. So even if it doesn't happen, I don't get disappointed. That's like when you set the bar so low, you're good to go, man. If something happens, then you're happy. If it doesn't happen, then you're already not expecting anything. So it's all good.
Yep, it's a good way to live life. All right. But just to get into how we are arriving to this game. So we have been unbeaten in maybe 6 games, I believe, so far, and especially at home, we've had six straight. No, we haven't lost in 6 straight games, so that's a pretty good thing, I guess. And especially with all of our players coming back. I would say the only dark lining of this past week has been like the draw that we could have actually put the game to bed in the first half. That is one thing, but the other major talking point for that game was the refereeing. So with Jill Manzano, as usual, stealing the spotlight. Do you actually feel like, as an unbiased person, like, do you think he's a Real Madrid fan?
I mean, anyone who's watching is gonna say that because I mean, honestly, I think even every Real Madrid fan I have spoken to, I don't think anyone actually says that's a red card. I haven't seen someone who said that's a red card. But the point is this, I can, on the other hand, I can try to understand what he's trying to say. But the point is, Korea gave him a decision to make
Hmm.
by throwing his elbow, and this is, uh, something that he saw live and direct. You
Yep,
understand? So for him, he just assumes that that's a violent conduct, and also the way, Tony Rudiger, just,
flopped.
Neymarized the situation,
Yep.
So it was quite interesting, but it wasn't a red card in my opinion. But I would, understand the reason why he also gave the red card, but I thought it was a very soft red card, and uh VAR and lack thereof, I don't know because the arm was visibly outswung, so they might say, okay, the contact might be minimal, the contact might be minimal. The player might have made a meal of it, but this Korea still gave Gil Manzano a decision to make. You shouldn't give the ref a decision to make, and most 70-80% out of 100, that's gonna be a red card. If he blows for a foul there, it's most likely gonna be a red card. You understand? The point is, I don't know how what went through Korea's mind, but I feel like he made a mistake there, and obviously Rudiger also made a meal out of it. And the point is, even with the one-man advantage, we still couldn't do jack shit. So it is what it is.
Yeah, man. And one thing is like the Atletico camp, they were all arguing, saying that Rudiger was so tall that Korea couldn't possibly have damaged him. Like, how can it be a violent misconduct? But the fact is that like that doesn't give small players any sort of like license to go out against big players, right? So they were all arguing against the wrong thing, the wrong argument, basically.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing that there was a Simeone get gesture of he's this and Korea is this. How is
Yeah,
that possible? And stuff like that. Well, I mean, it is what it is. Like, the swing of the arm is the swing of the arm. So it doesn't really, matter the height, as you said, or the physical size. So that doesn't give you a license if you're a small person or a big person, to just go out, kicking and, throwing your arms around. So yeah, it was indeed, an interesting one. But it was a very soft red card that if it was against us, I am sure we will sit down here and be cursing whoever gave us that red. But yeah, Tony Rudiger made they made the I mean, the point is, we still, you go back to the game, and you okay. Speaking of Tony Rudiger, like I just remember, like we still are in the game. You know, we got back in the game by this wonderful youngster who came on and equalized. But even after then, if Morata had one ounce of brain in his head, he won a penalty in the 90 plus minute because Militao was all over him.
Yep.
If he had just 1 ounce of brain in his head, that was a penalty for Atleti. You know, so that's the thing. Like these are small margins. Honestly, these are very small margins. But that's what we do. Unfortunately, like we just we come here and then yeah, one way or another, we just find ourselves standing. How are we even standing? We also don't even know.
Totally. Like, would you say we were like really lucky to come out with a point, or should we have just like capitalized on the good first half and then put the game to bed?
Uh, I would say, yeah, we were lucky to come up with a point, in my opinion, because the point is this: Atleti, went 10 men down and they scored to become 1-0. So I
Yeah,
felt it was going to be a very difficult game from there, considering the fact that both Vini and Benz weren't performing to not even their optimum, to even their average. They weren't performing even to their average. So I would say personally, for me, I felt it was 1 point gain rather than 3 point lost.
true, man. And of course, heading into this game, we don't have Alaba or Mendy, but possibly Rodrigo could be back. Maybe technically, do you think things would have gone differently if Rodrigo had started instead of Asensio? Because he can hug that right hand side more and put in those wonderful crosses.
Actually, I really don't care about if Rodrigo had started or if he had come at the end. The bottom line is we missed Rodrigo. It doesn't really matter because the point is, as we said, in that I think it was 68 minute or six. I don't know whatever the minute was when. I mean, I will still go back and name check when they were bringing him Chouameni. That wasn't the sub. The sub was for a winger, honestly. And we had no winger, so we had to restock our midfield again. So we definitely missed that decisiveness of Rodrigo. And let's not forget, even in the Copa game, we were 1-0 down from the Morata goal, right? I mean, Rodrigo channeled his inner Ronaldo, the OG Ronaldo, and he did what De Lima Ronaldo does, man. You know, that's a move like out of the De Lima Ronaldo textbook. So yeah, so it was we missed Rodrigo definitely, like the decisiveness, especially what he's shown, in the previous weeks, coming into this game. I mean, even if he had a bit of a down game, I would say a down game because he didn't score against Liverpool, but his form has been really good, and his decisiveness has shown over the past couple of weeks. So 100%, with Rodrigo there, I think the results could have been different.
Well, yeah, man. Let's hope he can at least make like a cameo in the second half, where we are in a good spot because he still probably is in match fit, so we probably shouldn't expect him to start.
Yeah.
But again, it's Carlos, so if someone can walk, someone crucial can walk, they can probably play as well.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. Honestly, that's one thing. But I want to assume that the the number of games we have coming, and given the fact that obviously, like I personally, I have given up on La Liga, but I want to believe that these people are professionals and they're being paid to do this, so they haven't given up on the league yet. They most likely will still think they can do it. So I think like Carlo will be willing, would like to keep his players fresh and fit, and not just rush. I mean, obviously we've rushed Karim Benzema a lot of times ahead of schedule, but for Rodrigo, I think it's a bit of a different case because you can still play Asensio and you can even choose to play Fede Valverde, on the wing as well. So yeah, I think as you said, like a cameo in the second half makes a lot more sense.
So, man. And I guess should we like head into the lineups first, or because maybe just heading into the game, we had one more really stupid kind of news which I didn't really want to bring up, which is that Alaba's votings for the best were revealed, and then people got really mad for nothing.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, man. Like, I mean, people will be stupid, stupid people will be stupid people. I mean, that's the case. Like, the thing I always don't understand is, we live in such a world whereby people lose their jobs because they comment on nail polish, lipsticks, because these are like, these are I don't know, like these are these are, I don't know, infringements, like you infringe, someone's personal space and this and that. This is what happens in the real world, and then some people just decide that, okay, this is someone I don't know, he doesn't know me. I'm just gonna sit down, and just, wish that on his family or on his kids, abuse his race, this and that. I mean, things don't make sense, and people don't even go to the bottom of the, of the story, and which Alaba has explained that. The point is, he's the captain of Austria, fine and good, but he doesn't make this decision as, as a single dictatorship. No, all the players who are part of the squad make a vote, and he just, tallies the highest vote, and he votes according to the votes that has been given to him. I mean,
Okay.
that makes a lot of sense. It's simple, it's straightforward, but unfortunately, like, we live in an age with a lot of stupid people, man. I mean, people are really, really stupid and dumb. But I mean, on the bright side, today I saw like one of the guys who abused Vini, I think at Mallorca, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
was fined 4,000 euros and was banned from football for a whole year. I think that's one positive thing. Finally, at least, where people are starting to get to be held accountable one way or another. So, yeah, that's one positive thing there. So, it is what
Yeah.
it is. Honestly, like, it's sad to see these things. Honestly, it's really sad because these footballers eventually are human beings as well. But people are so stupid and dumb that, they will just say what they will say, man. That's the thing they will say. It's sad, honestly, but it is what it is, unfortunately.
Yep. I guess let's get into the lineups then. Who do you see starting on the front line?
Uh, I will go Vini, Benzema, and Fede Valverde, because I think, as I said, like, we just have to, dominate that total midfield. Don't give Frankie De Jong and Sergio B the time to think or anything. So I think one thing is, similar to the game against Liverpool. That mobility, that aggressiveness, that energy in the middle of the park. It's gonna overwhelm both Frankie De Jong and Sergio Busquets, in my opinion. So, and whoever plays along them, which maybe Frank Kessie, or if they go with a different system altogether, I don't know. So I feel like, that's something very important. So I think, the presence of Fede on the wing is going to give us a lot of, how should I say, will give us a lot of penetration and aggressiveness, in my opinion, across the forward line. If Rodrigo was fit, I would have gone with Rodrigo, but I don't want to go with Asensio in this because Asensio, will kind of slow the game down, if that's the right word to use. I mean, it's no detriment to him. This is what he offers, but I just kind of feel like we need a different approach in this game, honestly.
Exactly. And one more thing is to notice that is Balde playing? Do you know? If
Balde has been playing for Barcelona, I think. He's been there, here and there.
Yeah, and it's just that Marcus Alonso has been playing in a couple of big games, especially in the Europa, and you know that's not really been good for them. So especially if Balde does start, which he probably will, Carvajal is going to need a lot of help defending that flag, and it's going to be crucial for Valverde to be up on the wings. So yeah, I feel like that's a shoe-in position for them as well. So it's probably going to be like you said.
I mean, if I'm mistaken, Baldi played in the game against United as well. I remember that Baldi was in the second leg against United. I
Mm,
remember he was there. So, but you're right. Even I was reading on the internet over the weekend, and people were blaming what's he called, the Spanish guy,
Alonso.
Eric Garcia,
Oh,
Eric Garcia, for the loss against Almeria. And I think Garcia doesn't start, but if he starts, man, I'll be licking my fingers, man. So that's that's something, honestly. So it's let's I don't know. It also depends on how they approach the game, but I want to assume that, either Balde or Jordi Alba are gonna start the game rather than, Marcos Alonso, because I think Marcos Alonso is a player who is more suited to a wing back position rather than a full back position. So I think if he plays there, he's gonna leave a lot of space for our attackers to exploit. So I think he's most likely gonna go with either Balde or Jordi Alba for this game, in my opinion.
and of course, Valverde turns into a different beast, doesn't he? In these El Clasicos, he always seems to bomb forward a lot
Exactly,
more.
exactly, exactly. I mean, these are the games he loves. Actually, these are the games he loves and thrives in. So that's why, I would really want him to start the game. Honestly, especially on the wing, which gives him a bit more freedom also in the attacking toward as well. to get the chance, to be in the right position to, to pull the trigger for one of, his famous rockets. Hopefully, we can get another one against Barcelona again.
Oh, heck yeah. All right, I guess that's it for the front line then. Maybe like one more thing to discuss for the front line is, do you see maybe if we are kind of winning, do you see an Alvaro appearance again in the second half?
I mean, irrespective of who we win or we losing, I'm expecting to see Alvaro want for some, for some cameo here and there. So I mean, these are the games you wanna play in eventually. These are the games where you wanna develop that. And he started, he's shown really good cameos. For one of the game, it was two assists, one was cancelled. And in the at least for the Madrid star, for someone who was born in Madrid, the biggest game of all, it's a derby against Atletico. So he came and he showed his worth. So I wanna assume that and because I have said this, like I don't really see a path or rather a blueprint for the youngsters to jump from Casilla to the first team. But I think Alvaro actually has the number of Carlo right now. I think he's won Carlo over, and I think he's here to stay. So I will be expecting to see a cameo from Alvaro as well in this game.
Yeah. Hopefully, like the whole pressure is not on him when he does come on, and he just has a couple of good sequences and maybe even score. Like that would be cool, right?
Yeah,
Like
I mean I definitely, definitely. I really hope that we are not bringing him on because we're in search of a do or die goal. I hope we're bringing him on in a more suitable situation, in a less hostile situation as well, because as we know, like if you bring him on into a pressure cooker, anything can happen. Imagine if he misses a very big chance, that's also gonna be his confidence in the garbage, and with how we know how stupid fans can be, he's just a young person, but they will all just go online into his box and say jack shit about nonsense, and that's really a confidence killing, machine as well. So I really hope we can bring him in a more, suitable environment, in a more less calm environment so he can thrive, because honestly, it's easy to play for a winning team. It's so easy to play for a winning team. Honestly, it's, when the chips are down, that's when you actually know who is who. And at this point in time, like we don't need to discover that about Alvaro just yet.
he is the man for it. All right. And should we head to the midfield? So, like we saw against Atletico, we have a lot of options there. But of course, we are saying that Valverde is going to play on the right wing. So that maybe leaves
Yep.
us with just a few more options, just five options to choose from. So who are you going to pick for this match?
I mean, we have five options, but I want to think realistically, Ceballos isn't part of them. So I think we have four options there. It's either you play Camavinga or you play either Toni Kroos or Luka Modric, because I think Tchouaméni starts this game 100%. I think it's Tchouaméni. In my opinion, I think it's a Tchouaméni Cross and Luka Modric game, honestly. But I mean, Camavinga also could, be thrown in alongside, Tchouaméni and Luka Modric, because I don't know if Toni Kroos will also play the game as well. I don't know because he started the game against Atletico, and we know he's just recently returned from an illness as well. So Carlo might wanna ease him back into the whole team. So that might be something. But otherwise, I personally would go with Chouameni, Tony
So many
Kroos,
Kroos
and
and
Luka Modric.
Kroos. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly.
here's my
And
problem with
then
that lineup.
in the
Like,
second half,
oh yeah, second up we can bring people on, but like Farouk, like what I'm thinking is, if we decide to go out and press Barcelona, like I feel like having Camavinga there instead of Tchouaméni would help us a lot, because Tchouaméni is someone who doesn't like go all out there unless he has a lot of cover. He doesn't bomb forward as much as Camavinga, and if we do decide to press, like his energy, like Camavinga's energy, is going to be so crucial.
that's a very good point, honestly. Like Camavinga's energy is going to be so crucial, but I think like you still need that shield because Camavinga, I feel like if he plays as a six, the profile of what you're asking him is different from when he plays as an eight. So I think even if I will still put Tchouaméni as a six, honestly, and I would prefer to have Camavinga as an eight because that energy bossing. Because I think we've seen, like, I can't recall the game, but there was a game where he was very good as a six.
Mm.
Uh, what what's it called? But then that attacking presence, that line bursting runs, was limited because he has a duty to cover the back four. which is the
True.
primary duty of a six first. So I would prefer to see him as an eight, having the shield of Tchouaméni behind him. So I would love to see that. But on the other hand, as I said, like I still think because as we've seen even against Liverpool, like Luka Modric was quite energetic, also breaking through the lines and what is not. So I still think that bringing on Camavinga in the 68th minute for Tony Kroos or something like that would make a lot of sense, and it will also inject a lot of because I think when you start the game at first, it's a Clasico, it's a high tension game, so you want to feel each other out, and honestly during that feel out period you want the calmest heads on the pitch, and you can get more than Kroos and Modric about that. So at least as the game builds on, then you can throw on the chaos of of Camavinga as well into the mix.
Okay. Yeah, that seems like a sound plan, and it's probably what Ancelotti is thinking as well. But we've seen this in most games, right? We always bring off Toni Kroos, uh, and people seem to like when things are not going well, we always seem to say, "Hey, like Kroos's time has been gone. He hasn't performed like really well." Like, do you feel like that's still the case at this time of the season? Because at the start of the season, Toni Kroos was probably having the time of his life.
Yeah, I know. Like that's the thing. Like, let's not forget this. It's not about Tony Kroos only anymore. Even since the post World Cup, like a lot of players have had a lot of bad games, And after a while, I think Tony Kroos was injured, if I'm not mistaken, and then he came back and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, it's not just him, and it's very easy for people, to pat on a player like Tony Kroos because he looks so immobile, and he looks like a player who, needs all the time in the world to make decisions and this and that. But honestly, when you look closely, you actually realize that it's not necessarily so. Honestly, like obviously, yeah, he takes time to make decisions and this and that, but eventually those brains will always in my opinion will always outrun the muscles and the athleticism, honestly, like I would always choose to have a very intelligent player like Tony Kroos on my team, like than I don't know, I mean just than to have just muscles and and speed, honestly. So yeah, I think a lot of people, and also like because of the high standards that these players have set, so it's easy to notice the drop in their forms and what is not. But I've said, like honestly, like I will still give these people give the people the chance to regain that full match fitness and rhythm, because honestly it's not easy when especially you come to that age, that you're going with the flow. Once you get into the rhythm, then you just keep balling and balling and balling, but it's not easy to go on and off, injured, not injured, injured, not injured. So yeah, I mean with a couple of games and getting back to full match fitness, I would expect Tony Kroos to be back to his normal self.
And especially this is where the arrival of Xiaomeni is also going to be so important because like if you put Toni Kroos in that sixth position, like most of the chances we concede are going to be him like missing his marker, running into the box. But if
Yep,
he has that
yep.
defensive cover, that gives Toni Kroos so much more freedom to pick his passes and do damage like whatever. Even in the Atletico game, like we saw in the times that he did decide to bomb forward, he was so dangerous.
Yeah, that's the thing, honestly. Like that's you rightly pointed it. Like playing at the six. I don't know why it's so, but a lot of people, try to envision Kroos as a six, but I just see that honestly he is not. And playing him there like is just a waste of his talents, and also a waste on the team as well, because honestly like you could see that okay, he tries his best to do that, but honestly like in most games, more often than not, you can see that he really struggles as a six, and he tries to be here and there, here and there, and here and there, and he's not just suitable for that, honestly, and that also takes away from that playmaking ability of Toni Kroos itself. So yeah, I mean, yeah, those passes, the way he sees the passes, and they don't call him a German sniper for nothing, man. Honestly, his ability, to read the game and to and also I think one thing that a lot of people actually, in my opinion at least, I don't know, maybe I might be looking at it wrong or no, is that a lot of people actually don't give Cruz credit for evasion of the press. I think Tony Cruz
Hmm.
is a very very good evasion of the press. When a lot of people are comment on the press, and that ability of his to throw the ball and just automatically bypass everything in front of him. That's one key thing. And I think it's gonna be really really important. Especially again tomorrow, even though Barcelona are missing some midfielders. As we've talked, like players like Frankie De Jong, Frank Kessie, the fullbacks in either Baldi or Jordi Alba will like to, close down spaces as quick as they can. And it's going to be very important, to release that ball as soon as possible. And I think in this current game, like very few are as good as Toni Kroos in the situations.
Yeah, that's going to be so crucial. Yeah, like you never see Toni Kroos lose a ball, right? It's all maybe you can see Kamavinga or someone. It's just because of a lack of experience in that position of the pitch. But Toni Kroos, you can never see him. Like he will always pick out the safest pass. He'll never like give the defenders trouble too. So the right man for the like big occasion.
Yeah, exactly. Indeed. Indeed.
I guess we're done with the midfield too then. Like let's get into the defense. Let's starting with the left back.
I mean, for the left back, I think it's gonna be Nacho again. I don't know. Do we have any other option? It's either you play Cavaviga or you play Nacho. I think there's no third option to that. I don't know. Is there?
Yeah. I mean, it's probably too adventurous for this game to play Kamavinga there. Yes. But yeah, it's probably going to be Nacho, and he's going to be tasked with defending Rafinha.
Yeah, I mean the point is he's gonna be defending Rafinha, but I mean it's Nacho, man. The man he's a solid defender as we've seen. He's defended Mo Salah, with almost ultimate ease. He's defended Riyad Mahrez the previous year as also. It's not like he's the first time on the job, so he knows his shit. So I mean, even if he doesn't give you a stellar performance, you will get an above average performance from Nacho, or So I mean, but yeah, obviously, still defending also is still a collective effort, as even we saw at Anfield, for the first 15, 20 minutes, like Mo Salah had Alaba's number, and the only reason was because, Kamavinga was confused of his position, but once he, got into the game and understood the role he had to play, you could see even when Nacho came on, Fede and Kamavinga were helping, down the flanks even to defend. So, it's not just, I mean, obviously these wingers, like they're pacey and tricky, like almost every time if they come one on one, the attacker is almost always going to win that battle because he's fast, he's tricky, so that's the thing, but it's a collective defensive thing. You just have to defend both with the midfielders and the fullbacks as well. So I hope they don't keep Nacho in isolation 1v1. I hope they get to understand their duty because as we've seen, Rafinha also is a very very skillful winger. Let's not forget this. Credits where it's due. Like he's really stepped up. Since he's joined Barcelona because I never expected that, but I think I never expected that much because he played for Leeds and they were fighting relegation. So I never expected that he could adapt so seamlessly to Barcelona. But yeah, he's been really good. Honestly, credit where it's due. So I really do hope, like the people who play in midfield, understand that it's not just a fullback's job to defend; it's a collective effort to defend eventually.
Exactly. And one thing that people like always like know how good of a defender Nacho is, but did you notice like especially in the Atletico game that he was able to dribble through one guy and then like he didn't put a really good cross in, but still his
Yep,
attacking
yep.
play is I would say on par with Mendy's or even better because in even in the first half he did ping those couple of really dangerous balls along the wings to Vini and then that created really good opportunities. So that's something that is in Nacho's belt that deep ball from towards the wings where Vinny can run into space. Especially like with
Definitely, definitely.
Araujo and stuff, like when they man mark Vinny, like this is probably one of the best opportunities to set Vinny free and try to create a chance or two.
Yeah, honestly, it's gonna be quite interesting, to see how it goes. It's Araujo and Jules Koundé marking, Vinicius Junior. Like that's literally one of the two best, defenders in the whole of La Liga. Honestly, so it's gonna be, really really crazy, but it's gonna be really, really crazy, honestly. But let's see, man. I mean, as you said, like Nacho's, output attacking wise might be, much more than that of Mendy. But the point is, honestly, like saying you're better than Mendy attacking wise is not even a good thing because I mean it's literally non-existent for Mendy. Honestly, like the attacking. I mean, he's as a defender. I think there is no better fullback in the world. I think as a defensive fullback. I think there's no better fullback in the world, but just the attacking output leaves so little to be desired. But yeah, I mean, as I said, like Nacho is an all-rounder. Honestly, whatever he does, he's not gonna be, the most spectacular player, but he's gonna do, he's gonna do just enough. He's gonna do just enough, honestly. And as you rightly pointed out, in the Athletic game, there was a couple of impressive, positions that he found himself in, or rather promising positions. But the end product wasn't there. But in this game, honestly, especially if Arawa and Kunde are on Vini, we're gonna need every single bit of attacking play from Nacho that we can get.
Exactly. And there's Sunaid in the comments saying, I want to disagree. Why so much Mendy slander? Mendy skims people with his pace when he decides to be a bit daring. But the problem is, like, he hardly ever decides to get daring. I don't know if it's because of Ancelotti or if it's because of Mendy himself. He just doesn't do it, man. We know he has the space and we know he can put in a decent ball in because he has been assisting in these crucial games, but he just hasn't been doing it often enough.
Yeah, I mean, the point is, whatever it is, what it is. Like, we miss Mendy, we need him to come back. Like, whatever it is, like, we've won the Champions League and the league with him, and he's understanding with Vini Junior. It kind of solidifies, the left side of our play. So, yeah, whatever it is, like, we want Mendy to be back ASAP. But it is what it is. Like, it's a shortcoming of his that at least I personally feel like the attacking output can be much more. But so far, it is just. I mean, it's enough for now. This is the case, like. But in games where like where Vini is being marked out and everything, we need that fullback, to take over the game, because if Vini is being marked out by this place, it means there's a lot of space then for you to exploit, right? But even if you
Yeah.
can't exploit those space, then it just goes to garbage or well, yeah, it is what it is. Let's see how it goes.
All right, man. But for the rest of the backline, I feel like it's pretty solid. Like we don't have any other options. It's gonna be Militao, Rudiger, and of course on the right back, Carvajal. But then
Yep.
again, Lucas Vasquez is back. He is ready to play. But maybe in the second half, do you see that happening?
I mean, if we're chasing a goal, I can really see that happening. If we can chase, I mean, also it depends, because honestly, like Baldi and Alba are really really attacking oriented fullbacks. So we never can tell. Even when you consider like maybe Ansu Fati plays on that side as well. So if Carval is struggling a bit, he gets a yellow card. Just to preserve the lad, to prevent the red card or whatever it is. So like Lucas Vasquez might come on. You never can tell.
I mean, at that point, if we are chasing goal, I would probably like to have Nacho on the right side and Camavinga on left back. That would be great.
I mean, I would prefer to have Camavinga in the middle of the park, considering the fact that, as we mentioned earlier, like Gavi and Pedri are out. So I really think, that athleticism, that energy, that long bursting run of Camavinga is going to be really, really important to break the lines, in my opinion.
Yeah. And did from the mid game, like I mean, the game against Atletico, Modric got his fifth yellow card, right? So he's not gonna be there for the La Liga game.
Yeah, he's not going to be there. I think we play Real Betis at the weekend. I'm not
Uh,
sure. I'll
okay.
just confirm. I think we play Betis at the weekend, so he's gonna miss that.
Oh, so
Yeah, we
Modric
play
is
Betis
definitely
away.
gonna, yeah, Modric is definitely gonna get a rest in then. So he should probably like play out the whole 90.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I mentioned the name of Tony Kroos and not Luka Modric, because I know that already he's gonna miss the game at the weekend. So he's definitely gonna ball out at this one. Hopefully, let's hope he balls out indeed.
All right. I guess there's nothing much more to talk about except for the fact, like, do you see any chance of Lonin starting?
Uh, Honestly, I don't think so. I think Thibaut continues with this because this is a very really really important fixture, and as we've seen even in the previous round as well, with Athletic when it was against Atletico Madrid, like Carlo called in the big guns again. So yeah, yeah, even though if FIFA thinks the best goalkeeper in the world is what's he called is Martinez, I chose to differ 100% because I think Martinez wasn't even the best keeper at the World Cup. But then it is what it is. It's a bias that I really cannot understand. But yeah, uh, there is that as well. I think you know people vote, and it doesn't even make sense. How can you make a FIFA 11 and have this person in it, and then vote for the best keeper and have a different person as that? Then what are you telling us?
It tells you nothing, Farooq. It's
Like,
just a
what kind of
popularity game.
maths?
There is
What
no
kind
map
of
involved.
maths is that?
Like for all we know, they could
I
probably be
mean,
looking at their Instagram followers and then that's how they decided.
it is what it is, man. It is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah, that's so cool. Well, yeah, I mean, we will have the world best goalkeeper in posts against Barcelona on Thursday. Sorry to Lunin, but yeah, we need the big guns for this one.
Exactly. Hope he has a good game too. Especially after the Liverpool game. He seems to have found his confidence in the Atletico game, but he wasn't really tested too. So, let's see,
Yeah,
man. Let's see.
yeah.
Also, like,
I hope it remains that way, man. We don't need him to be tested.
yeah, good point. Just for the viewers who are still here, like, I just want to interrupt before we head to the predictions. Can you just go hit the like button? It just really helps the algorithm and then helps us move forward as well. Keep letting these previews and post matches coming in. All right. And so for the predictions, Farooq, you want to go first?
Oh, I'm gonna predict the maximum victory I've seen us have, which is a 3-1 victory.
We're still going to concede.
Yeah, man, we're gonna concede one way or another, man.
Okay, how is it going to be? Like, is it going to be from open play or the classic? It's going to be a set piece because those guys have
I
some
think it's
really,
gonna be a set.
yeah, man. Like, their set piece takers are really dangerous, I feel.
I mean, the point is when you come into the box against Kunde and Arau and Frank Casey, I think yeah, it's gonna be a bit of a uphill battle there, honestly. So I kind of feel like we're gonna concede to either Arau or Kunde, ahead or something like that. But yeah, I mean, it's all part of the game. So let's see how it goes. But a 3-1 is what I predict by conceding one goal.
I'm going to actually say it's going to be a 2-0, just to be different, I would say. But like we've seen like in so many Clásicos, even if we have like the most excellent game, we're still not gonna score in the more than a two-goal deficit.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. Unfortunately, we are waiting for that day that we're gonna have
The
a fist.
finals, yeah.
Honestly, man, honestly. Well, let's see, man. You never can tell. This might just be that game, especially considering what happened in Saudi Arabia. Like our players might be fired up, to shut up the critics.
Also, like along with these exciting games that are going forward, like we also just got the news that there's gonna be a streaming series on Apple TV for the 14th UCL campaign. That is gonna release on March 10th.
Yeah, yeah, man. That's fucking amazing, man. I am just so keen to see what happened, man. Oh, especially after the what's it called? The Paris Saint-Germain game, man. Honestly, I am so keen to see that. Honestly. The Paris game is the game I am so keen to just see what happened after the Paris game, honestly. I mean, wow. Because I think that's the beginning of it all, honestly. The Paris game at the Bernabeu was the beginning of it all, man. So I'm really so keen to see how that happened. But what I'm just wondering is that like because normally for the all or nothings, which is done by Amazon, they actually announce it at the beginning of the season, and they have exclusive interviews, exclusive footages, and all that. So I don't know, like, did the team already plan this the previous year and just didn't tell anyone about it, or what? I'm just wondering, like, what happened with that. Like,
Uh,
it's a
uh,
it's a well hidden secret if that's the case.
Oh yeah, like we never saw any news outside of that. But I guess like they could have used all of these instances and like the dressing room is always filmed, right, by someone. So you can always get footage
Yeah.
of everything, even if you don't get exclusive interviews. So yeah, let's see how it goes. Hopefully there's a lot of juicy content which we haven't seen before.
Yeah, I mean, I hope we have some really wonderful scenes. Maybe we can even do a reaction videos to them. Hopefully, like we can have a very, I think it's gonna be, very emotional to watch. Really, like I think the Pirates game is gonna be very emotional to watch. Considering how what happened and what didn't happen. And I think also the final, with Tebow also will be very nice to watch. When he came out saying, people didn't give him his credits, and he came to the game to show them that this, he belongs at the very top of the game and what is and what is not. So yeah, man, I'm really looking forward to that. I think March 10th, it's a Friday, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it's not, I'm not sure.
Mhm.
March exactly, it's a Friday, so you see you have the weekend to watch it. So it's gonna be so perfect, man. Honestly, March 10th, yeah, I think that it's actually a free weekend for me, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, it's gonna be
Awesome.
it's gonna be a nice one to watch.
All right. Yeah. Of course, Sunil is in the comments saying like we can get to see all of Rodrigo's heroics again in all its glory.
Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly, exactly.
All right. I guess let's wrap this up then. So hopefully we see a good game. We will have a post-match for that as well. And do stay tuned for more content. Before you go, if you're already here, please consider subscribing if you haven't already. Also, do give a like. We have a few socials down below as well. We have a good Twitter and Instagram going where we have good artwork as well for all of these players and reactions. Also, our friends over at Real Madrid Community have some really good content on Instagram. You should go consider giving them a subscribe or a follow as well. So, without further ado, Hala Madrid.
Hala Madrid.